Rumesh, UCSC, is doing a single page application development. So 1.7 million fish died. Brand new MSP, okay? So it's about you.
Hi guys, good evening. I'm Rumesh from UCSC. So what I'm going to talk to you about is single page application. Have anyone heard of SPA? SPA? Not the SPA you know in the country. Yeah. Anyone know single page applications? Anyone have developed any application? No. Good. Okay, let me start with the Wikipedia. Wikipedia says the SPA, also SPI, is a web application or website that fits blah blah blah. It actually does this. Take a web page. Let's say there are headers, there are content, everything. You can navigate through web pages and everything, all that. What if you get a video site like YouTube? You go to the first video, it downloads from the beginning, and then you go to another video, again it starts downloading from the beginning. Why you download two contents, the same content again and again? So this is a solution, single page applications. What it does is, it takes everything at once. In the initial load, what are necessary will be loaded, and when you click something, the required will be assembled on site. It's like in the client side. Okay, what are the benefits? If I say now the data duplication, redundant, nothing. So the speed, the page loading will be faster because everything done in the client side. Data manipulation, data access layer, everything run on the client side. And then this is run on any device. It's not Java, not a platform in the browser. You just need plain HTML, JS, boom, runs. Then the next point is quite needy because it can work offline. The first time you cache your page, you can do anything afterwards. You can, let's say you have a database application for your company. You go where you don't have an internet connection. You just update your queries, say, okay, now I sold a number of quantity, everything done, but you don't have an internet connection. You come to a place where you have internet connection, suddenly it syncs with the server, data is uploaded. And the fourth point, App Store deployable. The application you create with SPA is nothing, you can just submit to App Store. You have a few stuff to do, but don't worry, it's nothing. You can easily submit to the App Store, which is going to be a Windows 8 app. So let me take you through some examples. Gmail, everyone knows Gmail. You go to Gmail and you see inbox, drafts and everything. Have you seen that when you, while you're in the inbox, you try to go to the send mail? Have you seen that the page load again? Just the content, just the mails that you send will be loaded at the page. That's one instance of SPA. Now let me take you to the second one, hitman.com. This is a quite good site to display the SPA. Okay, now the page is loaded. If I click on flights, you saw no page refreshment, only the content, only this section got loaded. Because in the first load, everything will be loaded. When I click the flight section, it will assemble the flight section on the client side. That's what happens. Now, if I make a query, it will submit and data will be retrieved, no page loads, only the data will be loaded. One moment. Okay, here I got some data. Again, no page refreshments. If I go to hotels, this is where something I can show you. quite good sample. Now you can see 4 map points are loaded to the map. It displays all the 4 in. Now if I scroll through this, supposed to be a scroll bar from here. Okay. Now you can see all the other points are changing. When the list refresh, actually the point refresh, you can check everything. It happens on the client side. In the first load, every data will be loaded, and the next stuff gonna be needed will be loaded on site. So that's pretty much about the example. Is this rocket science? No. Plain old HTML and JavaScript. You can do it with your knowledge. To do this thing, we'll be needing. Actually, SPA can be implemented in several ways. You can use for server-side web rails and everything, but for the client side, we'll be using JavaScript. As simple Visual Studio will have implementation on ASP.NET using this as major.js. Durandal, Breeze, Knockout, AngularJS, Ember, SamiJS. Durandal actually is going to be used with Views and View models because all the ASP.NET apps are currently in MVC apps. So View model architecture, so Durandal will be needed. Breeze we will be using for data access layer. Knockout. Knockout is something quite good. You probably would try to dig on this because what this does is this is a data binding script which we are going to use to actually if we bind some data for an element, let's say same thing binded to 2 instances. You change one, Knockout will keep the history of it. When we change something, it will capture it. Again sync with the other object. Suddenly at the time it will change, do the change. AngularJS by Google, Ember, SamiJS for navigation and stuff. Let's see some architecture. Okay. You have server with WebUI data services. We'll be using JSON or XML. You can use both simultaneously. For the client side, we'll be having UI section, application layer, data access layer, local storage. This we'll cover later. This was actually brought through a Microsoft presentation. In this thing, he'll be using Upshot, which where we are going to use Breeze for data access layer. Okay, now we'll go for the requirements. You need Visual Studio, obvious. For that, you need another update. ASP Web Tools 2012 to update. Without that, you can't actually create SPA applications properly, but you can do it with the scratch. I'll take you through it. And optional, you can download many templates with Microsoft rights, with the community rights. Great stuff. Try it out. Let's go for templates. What are templates? Templates normally it's a foundation class going to be used by us. Most of the templates created by the community, as I said earlier. Pretty much amazing. You can also join with the community, make some changes, add your own elements and all. Try it out. Template will answer, how do I get started? If you don't have any clue how to get started with your app, this is the place. Template. Okay. Templates, basically 2 categories: sample templates and bare bones. What is sample and what is bare bone? Let me explain. Bare bone is like this. It gives you just the foundation. It won't drive through any way. Let's say the sample template, it will give you some kind of a sample, some kind of an application. In this scenario, the ASP.NET team provides a SPA sample which is bundled with the to-do app. So it means it has a to do that. We can modify, but we have to make do some extra work on it. But if you take this Durandal or hot towel templates, it just gives you the foundation. You can build any application on top of it any way you want it. So these are some comparisons. At the moment you won't understand what this is, but I'll make sure you understand everything after the presentation. Okay, it's time for a little demo. Let's create the app with Microsoft Drive. I hope you can see this. Can see this probably, right? Right. Before I said you need that update thing to this thing to work. So we'll start by file, open. Gonna be a project, not a website. Sorry, not download. Create. This is gonna be a MVC4 app. Let's put it SPA1. Okay. Now then the type project template. After you install your web update, this thing single page application sample will be shown in your templates box. The others you have to install manually. This hot towel, Ember, Durandal, Breeze, all are provided in ASP site, which you can download and install just few clicks. Let's start with SPA. Okay. In this SPA model, the creator had made a little change to MVC. Actually, it's going to use MVVM. It is like model, view model, including the controller. The view model is used to demonstrate that the application logics, not the business logic, where your application has, let's say, bind this data to this element, change this to this element while user create. If this is activated, do this. Everything will be going to be in the view model. That's one changes done in the SPA. Okay, now our sample app is ready. We'll first try what it is. Because I said in the initial load it will gonna load everything, so the initial load will be a little bit delay, and then the rest calls will be much faster. Okay, it's firing up. So far we did not do anything. Initial load we have not. I just start using switch. I just enable the wire. Okay, this is my app. You have a small to-do list. We'll change this to this. Okay. I should when we change something, you can see there's a put, but only for this element. Only the data regarded to that particular thing will be transferred through the wire. So the size you can see 339 bytes, you can at least I'll just log out. So this is the basic sample that Microsoft gonna give us. You can see a few elements they have designed, just the bar and all. We can't demonstrate much on SPA on this thing, but I'm sure you can see that no page refresh, just the element. But this is calling to the database at the moment. Let's go through the code for a while. Okay, we can see this. As I said earlier, this is a MVC app. You have your view, where home and everything. You have all your scripts like jQuery, knockout for data binding, data binding. You have your configurations. You have your controllers, everything more. So this is pretty much about SPA sample. Next, I will go through SPA from scratch. This is quite an amazing technique. You have to do. In this, these are the resources we're going to use: SQL Server Compact for databases, Durandal again for view model compression, Breeze for database layer, Knockout for data binding, and Font Awesome, Bootstrap, jQuery, and this modernizer front end something for fonts and all. Hope you know jQuery and Bootstrap. Bootstrap actually it's a CSS collection, right? You can easily create some style sheet for your Okay, let's see what are the requirements we have to we have in our application. We should show a particular view. We should navigate from page to page, load the JSON HTML pages on demand. Means that you can load, let's say, 10 pages on the first load. Let's say those 10 will be like in Facebook. You will be got notifications for messages, but you won't be going to game request. So in the initial load, you will load the messages and notifications. But if you need, in case this on demand means you can load game request, but if you need a loading, so the data loading will be efficient, and UI should listen for lifecycle events like all these sections are creating, so activating, deactivating, all the life cycle should be maintained by the UI. So for this Durandal is the savior. It will give us view model conversion. Don't think about any much. Dynamically load modules. That means the same thing. You need your game request to be shown. It will load it at the moment, not the initial load like that. Every page is a module in SPA. It will load at the moment dynamically. Don't think about the other stuff. Convention based, like all you know in the programming, you use some kind of notations and like upper camel case in example. So you can use Durandal with convention based, which is going to be customizable. Okay, I'll show you how to create a I'll just pause this. I don't need this again. now we are trying to develop a SPA from the scratch. So again we will be needing a project, obviously MVC4. We will say SPA scratch. Now we don't need the sample, we just need a basic project. This is the previous one. Let me section this. Like this is the header content. So particularly this header will be same for every page. So obvious we need only one this thing upwards. These controllers will be loaded at the runtime. So we are using sections. Let's say this part is one section, and let's say some paragraphs are there as another section. One click, you can move this section away, assemble the other section, again boom, the site is done. That's what we're gonna do. So the render will do this thing. It will capture all the modules, modules in the sense these sections will be monitored by the render. As you normally know, just close these properties. MVCM, just like this, data, your normal configurations, controllers, models and views. So to convert this into a SPA, we need some stuff. As I said, some JavaScripts we need to install. We'll use package manager. You will say install package. Okay, let's see. Hope you can see the change it did to this. Last time it wasn't there an app folder. Now the render we installed with the render we get an app folder with the render JavaScripts and everything. As last time I said, our application will be a MVVM app. So we need views, view models. We have views already, but it's normal views. As a convention, I'll put my view folder here, and same way we're gonna have view models here. SPA will come to the index.cs and then it will search for main JavaScript in the app because we have the render. If you using AngularJS, it will be little bit difficult, different from this, but you're gonna have JS or main. If you need to configure this much more, you're gonna have to put a config.js again for the same portion. I'll do the configuration with another tool. Like installing render, you can use install package knockout, and some packages I'll show you in the package manager. This is the GUI, it's easy. We need knockout. You can see knockout.js. You just can go click install. Suddenly you will get downloaded everything. Same way, the JavaScripts I said earlier. Just download it, and you just can create your views here, view models here. I'll explain it a little later because if I try to go do this, the configuration will take little time, which I don't have. So this is the way you just create SPA with Scratch. You just using package manager install all the required JS and everything, just code. The initial coding will be harder because you have to configure everything, but when you get used to it, you just have to put HTML here, the required JS to here, it will automatically bind. You don't have to put any links, it will automatically do. I'll show it to you in the next thing. Using Hot Towel. Hot Towel is a template which is a popular one developed by John Papa. Papa something. He created. We'll use that. Again, I don't need this. This time I am going to be using this Hot Towel single page application template. We have a project. As you can see, there are a lot of stuff. Controllers already built, views already defined, view models. We have default home shell kind of stuff. Let me run and explain so you will understand it properly. Okay, this is the template they give. You have your home view, details view. Just click, you can see some animations around it and like Facebook notification stuff. You have this code also, you can download the JavaScript easily. So they have just provided us the UI. We can put our content, put our JS, just coding. Let's dig into the code. As I said earlier, the above part, the header part is the main page, the index page, and all these are sections. Home, this is a one home section. The next thing, details, another section. Only this part is refreshing when I slide through the sections, no page reloading. Let's try to add the data source tab. We got one database. Just what I'm going to do is create a sample table, insert some data, and retrieve through the SPA app. Say enable TS. Okay, now I have a table and some data. Okay, we have some data as well. Now we have our data. Now what we're going to do is create a model because we want to access the data through our I'll create all the model classes for the available tables, which is only one table. Now I have my model here. Next, what I am going to do is create a control class using Breeze. Breeze is our data access layer, which is going to connect with our database. Actually, it's happening in client side. Let me show you adding one. Just grab some code because of the time. I don't have much time left. I just paste it. Okay, now yeah, I have in this method I am returning all the university details to the to our page, which will require this. So now we have our controller. The only matter of accessing it. Let me show you some really cool stuff. On your configuration file, there is a Breeze Web API config which is installed with the Breeze Web API. In this register Breeze pre-start method, it is just mapping all our controller methods to URL. If now our current app is on the localhost, if it says localhost port number API, now we create a Breeze control. So if we use Breeze, the method, it will automatically retrieve the data from the method we created. So let me run it. Okay, now the page is covered. API, Breeze. You can see it retrieved two rows which I added, naming, ID and everything. So now what we have to do is, we have our data coming in, we just have to put the page, map the data into the required page, render it, you just have your data. Let me show you how you can do it. Last time I said you just have to put your page into this app called views. We'll do it. We'll add As you can see, if we added a raw HTML file, it will have the HTML tags. But if you see the home HTML file, it just declare as a section. Only the section will be loaded in the UI. So you just copy and paste it. You can see here the data binding. Knockout will check the title variable in the view model. So we have to create a view model. Another case. This is the name should be the same as the HTML file. So we will have to use unique. I'll just change this values to okay, nothing came. I forgot to clean my cache as well as I forgot to put the references. Here you can see in our shell, which is loaded after the main.js. Last time I said the main will be first fire off, then the shell. In the shell, all the URLs are loaded. We just have to put link like this. Now you can see your page is coming. Some binding problem. Just forget it. You have your page. All you have next to do is using jQuery bind those data to this view. You have your data. So this is how we gonna do single page applications. You might think it is harder, but if you get used to it, it's really easy. Let me show you one example which was created by the creator of this template itself. Actually, the sample you can download from the github/johnpapa/codecamper. Try this, you will learn so many things. Okay, this is a sample app created by the template creator. Some values you can navigate through this. It is really fast. There's a hosted version. I can't remember the actual URL, so I can't show you the speed of this because there are so many images. You have to load everything and all. If you take normal app, the photos and everything will take some quite time to load, but in this case SPA will optimize the data, so one data will be used everywhere. So this is pretty much it about the SPA. Let me just answer. You guys got some idea about this, right? I told you about the good side of SPA. It's really fast and everything all, but everything has its downside. Because all the things are done in the client side, search engine optimization is a bit harder in SPA because most of the navigation is done in the client. Nothing will go to the server, no traffic, so data cannot be captured. And also, I told you that Breeze.js will do the data layer in the client. So it will basically show every data to the client. You can do some changes. You can crash the DB. So there are two links which the Breeze creator have answered on about this. He also said the same thing, and these are some links for you to, if you're interested in learning SPA, try Knockout.js. You will take only 2 hours, Breeze same time. The links downwards about purely on SPA. John Papa, quite amazing video tutorials. You can learn quite a lot of stuff. Omega Coder, same. ASP.NET, they provide some really good tutorials on this, same as this site. So, any questions? I hope you guys understood few stuff at least. Okay, I'll be sharing this slide with the SlideShare, and also I'll publish in the chance page itself if you interested in. Also, the required web update and all the templates will be in this my SkyDrive. You can download. So that's it. Let me finish with one thing. We all learn stuff through the net because someone else wrote something about it. Someone else created a video tutorial about it. So take your time, write something, share it with someone else because someone else will learn. That's the fastest way to share your knowledge. So that's it. Thank you.
So I'm going to introduce Indus presenter. So wait, I think outside meeting. He's from Versa, a tech lead about SharePoint. So he's going to talk about the SharePoint 2013, the latest version. And he's ready. So there are another set of USBs here. One e-commerce and running. So I invite Ginger to present about SharePoint 2013.
Good afternoon, guys. Have you heard about SharePoint? My presentation has only 3 areas. I will introduce what is SharePoint. Then I will tell you why should we learn SharePoint, because there are so many other alternatives, right? You can learn PHP, you can learn ASP.NET, you can learn about SQL. There are so many stuff, right? There are so many alternatives. So I will tell you why you should learn about SharePoint. Then I will tell you how to learn SharePoint. This will be like very simple presentation. In the meantime, I will do some demonstrations as well. If you have any question, you can ask me. Maybe those questions can be relevant to SharePoint. Maybe to how you build your career within SharePoint. What are the exams? How you can become a professional in SharePoint data. You can ask those questions as well. So this is SharePoint. It says it's a business collaborative platform. Each word has a meaning. It says it is regarding business, and it is regarding how you collaborate. And it is a platform for an enterprise. I think you know about collaboration. It is about sharing. It is about how you interact with each other within your application. I mean, within your system, ecosystem. So, for an example, let's say you are in an HR system, HR department. You can upload some HR policy document, and maybe an employee in an admin department can maybe download and see it. That is one thing, how you collaborate. maybe there's some policy document. There are several people can work on that topic, right? Maybe one person can work on the introduction section. Maybe the person can work on some other area, maybe table or some other section. That is one. Maybe there can be other ways you can collaborate, right? For an example, take an leave management system. Somebody, maybe let's say I need a leave on Monday, next Monday. So I will go to a system and I will enter my details. And I will submit it to my boss. So using SharePoint, we can do everything. It is kind of an ecosystem. So I will tell you what are the areas. Those are very simple areas. Actually, we can break the entire SharePoint ecosystem into 6 areas. So in that way, we can make our life easier. We can easily understand what it is. It says sites, contents, composites, communities, search and insights. So if you take our sites, do you guys know about what intranet is? What is the difference between internet sites and what is the difference between intranet and the intranet? You guys know, right? Internet for mass public and intranet for a certain focus group, maybe within your organization. For example, if you log in, if you switch on your computer when you go to your office, and when you click your Internet Explorer, this is the screen you get. You first get your news site, relevant news, your calendar items, that kind of thing will be happening. Show you. Sample where you get your some messages from your CEO and you get recent news and you get certain other links to other departments, maybe relevant information. And the most important thing in SharePoint is if you have the permission, you can work with it like you work in Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. For example, since I am administrator, I can just go here and I can edit. I can add the content, I can add other, maybe add the calendar, maybe add the news web part or something. We call those items as web parts. Okay. If you move to presentation. Then apart from that, we can have our own websites as well. And in the same way, I will show how to manage it. For example, let's say I have a restaurant operation. So I can build my site like this way and I can expose to public. So even in here as well, since I have the permission, I can do modification as I wish. By the way, do you know about Office 365 and SharePoint Online? You know, right? It is one way of publishing your content in web. The importance is it is not hosted in your organization. It is hosted in cloud. This is a service provided by Microsoft. Actually, this is Office 365, I mean, SharePoint Online site. You can create your own sites because it gives you 30 days free trial. You can build very easy. The next one is, this is very important. Because now SharePoint, actually SharePoint 2010 version, I mean, earlier version and this version supports mobile access. Actually, I mean, SharePoint 2007 version also had certain level of support, but now it is fully fledged. I mean, if you open this in iPad or iPhone, it organizes itself, I mean, quite marvelously. It's called, I think you know about responsive web, right? We can publish certain things according to resolution. For example, let's say this has certain resolution, the CSS will automatically adjust according to that. So this is not the thing you will see in maybe Internet Explorer or Chrome. So for an example, let's say if I have a task or if I have some action to do, I can easily do it with our own mobile devices. The next one is content. Actually, this is what we use SharePoint in our most day-to-day lives. I mean, we upload documents, we do certain modification, we create some workflows. Actually, this is the sample process what I have put. This is not everything. This is only one thing. For an example, if I take a scenario, I can upload a document. Maybe let's say I am working on admin department or HR department. What I will do is I will create a Word document called HR policy or something, and I will upload it to SharePoint. And maybe in my team there are few members, maybe 5 people will work on the same document. In that case, we have something called live co-authoring, where multiple people can work on the same document. I think for an example, let's say if I don't have SharePoint, if I have only file share, there will be a file mess, right? Let's say one person is modifying the introduction section and one person is modifying some other thing. I think it is virtually impossible, right? Because the document will be corrupted. But in SharePoint, it allows that feature very nicely. What it does is, if I log into the system and if I edit the document, let's say I am working on the introduction section, that introduction section will be logged to me. And let's say in other chapters, maybe other paragraph is edited by other person, then it is logged to other person. So likewise in the Word panel, it shows 2 people, maybe several people are working on the same document. So it is quite a nice feature. And let's say after they upload and modify the document, it is not visible to the entire employee base because it is in the draft stage. Then after a certain thing, I publish it to the content approval workflow. Maybe my manager need to approve it. It says this document is correct, accurate, so I can go ahead with that. So like that, it is now in the published state. So the entire employee base can access the document. Then after that, maybe after let's say 6 months, I think there need to be certain modifications. So what I do is, I will change certain things, but it will be published as a new version. So in any time I can go back to, or I can revert back to my previous version. So the older content is not lost. I think you guys have worked with version control, right? You know what major version, what minor version, what version is, right? In software development also we use, I think you guys heard about TFS, Team Foundation Server, Visual Sources. What we do for code check-in, check-out versions. For an example, let's say I develop certain module. Every day maybe I will check into the system. After that, because after a certain time I realize there are some errors or there are some bugs in my code. So what I will do is I will revert back to my previous version and I will take that and work on that. Like the same way, we do it in production, I mean enterprise-wide documents as well. After versions, maybe let's say I am thinking about my documents very seriously. I need to retain those documents for 3 months. After 3 months, I will move those documents into different place, maybe to a different system, maybe to a file drive, where I will archive the documents. You know the concept of archiving, right? Where we keep the documents. So we have some policies where in library level, we can configure these documents should be retained there for maybe 6 months or 3 years. After that, it will be sent to some other place, or will be deleted, or will be maybe a workflow starts. That is helpful for some other aspect as well. Because you know, if you take the IT expenditure, the storage is we can say it is a major cost. So in that way, we can reduce our storage cost as well. Maybe if you take an example, we uploaded HR policy documents. Maybe after 5 years, it is not applicable anymore. So there's no point of keeping it. So what I will do is, when I upload it, I can say it should be deleted in maybe 10 years, 11 years. I think you have seen how you can upload a document, right? I will show. We call this as document library, where we can upload documents. We can just click on new item, or even if I have a document, I can just drag here. See if I have like this, I can just upload, drag and drop here. And you can see now my document is in the draft stage. What I can do is I can select and I can approve it. I can put version in those things. Yes, I can see my versions. Those are the options I have. I can share, I can put permissions on those documents. Those are the basic document management features I have. Do you have any questions on document management or enterprise content management? We call this as enterprise content management. One section of enterprise content management is document management. That's what I mentioned. There are some other areas as well. So the next part is composite. It is how you can extend your SharePoint features. As I shown you earlier, I can change the content look and feel using the browser as well. Right? I can add some content, I can add a picture, I can add a video, or I can create a new document library, new calendar. I can do those things within the browser itself. We call that as out-of-the-box modification. It is very simple. Then the next one is we can do modification using a tool called SharePoint Design. Have you heard about SharePoint Design? It is a free tool. We can download and connect, and we can create workflows. We can change our master pages, create CSS classes, those things. And if it is not sufficient, we can do Visual Studio based modifications as well. We can create something called web parts. We can create complex workflows. We can do those things. This is one sample we can create using workflows using InfoPath forms. For an example, as I mentioned earlier, maybe my leave management system is built on SharePoint. For an example, let's assume, okay, this is loan application form. This is done in InfoPath, and I can publish it in my SharePoint. So once the employee logs into the internet, he can see a link to loan application form. So he can just click there, tick, and copy. After he submits it, maybe that form will be submitted to his supervisor or manager. You know what is a workflow, right? It is how we implement a business process. For an example, let's say my loan application is something like this. First, the user should submit a form. Then it should be approved by his immediate manager. Then it should be sent to the maybe finance department to see if he has any previous balances, previous anything. After that, maybe it will be checked with admin department, and after that, maybe it will be approved by regional manager or someone. Then it will be there'll be a remark for someone. So that's what this is a flowchart. Some flowchart. This is how workflows work. We can implement workflows using SharePoint dashboard. And another cool feature is, you know what Visio is, like Visio diagrams. Visio, we can, in SharePoint we have a service called Visio service, where we can create business process, implement business process using Visio service as well. You can see some machines and maybe printers, routers. They are not just images. Because I have in previous project, I have been something like maybe this is similar thing. It is maybe, let's say it is IT department's maybe dashboard. IT manager can see what are the printers working or what are the printers not working by looking at this diagram, because they are active. If the printer is not working, maybe it will be in red. we can do something similar to that. This is live. This is order fulfillment workflow. So you can see for a specific order, all the things are working, but there's a problem in this section, maybe in the shipping thing. If I implemented it another way, maybe if I click on it, I will be redirected to that error page or something. So by looking that, I can see there's a problem in my shipping area. This is the most important thing in SharePoint 2013. Although we have some community features in SharePoint 2010 and 2007, they have nailed this to the best actually. It is we call it as the Facebook in our enterprise. So we can view profile, we can like, we can comment, we can share, we can do virtually everything what you can do it in Facebook. If you can see, maybe I will show you that one as well. This is my wall or something like that. This is my home page. So you can see what are the discussion, what I am following, the people I am following, what are the sites, what are the documents I am following. And if I show you certain, maybe if I click on this profile, you can see about maybe this description, and those are the documents she uploaded, those are the videos. So this is how we do social networking within an enterprise, because you know most of the companies, Facebook, those kind of social networks are blocked because of information leakage. So we can control that using this kind of a thing. I think you know about Yammer as well. Right? Yammer is another thing. So we can integrate Yammer into SharePoint as well. We can select either you need SharePoint newsfeed or you need the Yammer newsfeed. It is also a controlled social networking feature. Okay, the next vertical is SharePoint search. We can search, because I mentioned that we can use SharePoint to store and manage our content, right? So let's say I have like 5,000 sites and I have content of like 5 million Excel documents, 10 million of Word documents, and that kind of environment. I need to easily locate my information, right? So what I will do is I will go to my search and I will just type the requirement. For an example, let's say if I go to my search, you show the content, and let's say I'm going to be so I can filter that way. Also very nice. I think you know about the concept of business intelligence, right? You know what is business intelligence? It is how senior management will come up to various decisions by looking at their data. You know, for example, let's say we take maybe bank, maybe if you take the DFCC bank, they have quite a lot of collection of data, right? Collected from maybe different branches over several period of time. So what the manager, maybe directors would like to know is, what are the most performing branches? Who are the most performing individuals? What are the most performing products? So By using business intelligence, we can easily see it by using historical data. So that is an example of that. So I think I have that one as well. So for example, let's assume this is some kind of a sales dashboard. So what I would do is, if I need to filter from the region, let's say I need to filter only the content from Europe, what I would do is, I'll just click here. According to that, those charts will be modified. So let's say if I want to select only this. So according to this, other charts will, these features are called Power View. Have you heard about Power View? Have you heard about Power Pivot? Actually, a Power View is a feature, it's a not feature of SharePoint. It's a feature of SQL Server. Power View features are introduced after SQL Server 2012, the latest one. Maybe, for example, if I have like SQL Server 2008 or 2005, those features are not available. I can use Power View with Excel as well as SharePoint. I think you have, maybe if you get an Express license or Express edition of SQL Server or something, maybe you can add, but I'm not sure if it is working in Express. Maybe you can check on, if you have the Power View, you can just create charts in Excel as well, like I did in SharePoint. You can do it in Excel as well. Do you have any questions up to now? Okay, so into my most important. Why should we learn SharePoint? So I've been talking about SharePoint for some time. Why should I learn SharePoint? There are so many other areas, right? I can learn ASP.NET, I can learn PHP, there are some SAP and other stuff as well. So why should I learn SharePoint? Any ideas? First thing, those are my views, right? Those are not from myself. This is how I feel about SharePoint. Because if we take a large organization, for example, large bank or some multinational organization, they think about IT, their IT very serious. They think their email communication is their backbone of operation. Like for example, let's say we take maybe some multinational bank or something, maybe Citibank or something. They use their emails as their main communication channel. So their first choice would be to select a commercial email solution. And to manage their users, they would definitely select, maybe the most probably, they will select Active Directory. They will select Exchange server. They will select SQL server. Right? Because if you take large organization, it is the only solution, Exchange server and Active Directory. So in that case, SharePoint can easily fit in. If you take all Fortune 500 companies, as I remember, 70% of them, they have this kind of infrastructure, not on open source, right? So in that case, SharePoint can easily fit in. So you are assured. So the next one is from 2010 onwards, it is Office. It is bundled with Office. So as maybe you all know, it is the main revenue stream of Microsoft. So they will not drop this for sure. In the next one, from like 6 months onward, from last 6 months onward, there's a huge demand for SharePoint resources. Actually, in Sri Lanka, we cannot find SharePoint resources. We have to publish on newspapers, we have to publish on Facebook, different sites to get resources. Not only in Sri Lanka, we have so much of demand from Singapore and European countries and USA. I'm getting so many emails to find out SharePoint resources. The last one is the pay. If you compare the pay of a SharePoint engineer and a certain other professional, other software engineer, there's a huge gap. So actually, it is one thing we all are focusing on, right? So I think SharePoint is a very good option where you should all consider. So you guys have any questions on those things? Or you have any comments, any suggestions, any ideas? Okay. So how do we learn? As I mentioned in my first slide, you cannot directly go and learn SharePoint itself. First, there are certain guys who do that way, but they will lose quite a lot of things in our development lifestyle. I can say that. So you should first focus on .NET Framework. Then those are some certain things I just memorized. You should focus on IIs, .NET Framework, ASP.NET, IIS, SQL Server, Windows Server. You should have basic understanding of those things rather than stepping into SharePoint. For example, let's say you are a fresher. You can be given a SharePoint opportunity. Maybe you can be hired for a certain company as associate engineer, but your role would be to develop SharePoint-based applications. But you should never ever miss those things. Although you don't have any chance to learn those things, maybe you don't have any chance to build ASP.NET applications. But you should, maybe as assignment basis, maybe you can build, you can have scenario on your own, and you can develop ASP.NET applications, ASP.NET MVC applications. Maybe you can learn about how IIS work, how requests work, what are the mining types. Those things you should definitely work on, how security is handled. Because certain things are encapsulated in SharePoint. For an example, the authentication and authorization parts, they are handled automatically. You don't need to encrypt anything, you don't need to do any kind of things regarding to permissions. So if you neglect this, if you ignore this, you will not learn about how membership providers work, how the Windows authentication really works. So you should have an understanding on those areas as well. The next thing is how you can learn. There are quite a lot of books on SharePoint, SharePoint 2010 and SharePoint 2013. So I prefer those books actually. There are certain good books from Box and Microsoft Press. You can refer those books. And there are Microsoft virtual labs. Have you heard about virtual labs? Anybody? This is not a SharePoint thing, right? For ASP.NET you have virtual labs. For SQL Server you have virtual labs. You just type MSD and virtual labs. You can find so much of resources in that. So for an example, you will be given a remote desktop. So you can do anything. The next one is software. Of course, you need certain software to do SharePoint modification. But what we can do is, there's a SharePoint free version. We call it as SharePoint Foundation, which is free. And there's a SQL Server free version as well, SQL Express. So by using those things, you can install them in a maybe 4 GB laptop. If your laptop has 4 GB, you can download free versions of SharePoint. They will not expire. So you can upload documents, you can customize, you can create web parts, you can use Visual Studio to do the modification. And the next one is, as I mentioned earlier, you can use Office 365. There you can have free subscription for, but it lasts for 30 days. Sometimes Microsoft is very generous. Certain accounts, they forget to expire. If you are lucky, you can. I have several accounts I can. Those are certain good options. And apart from them, you have good videos. In YouTube, you can find so much of good resources on that. And certain social networks like Twitter, they discuss on SharePoint. And there are certain good colleagues who discuss about SharePoint, so you can learn a lot of things. Apart from that, we have a SharePoint forum in Sri Lanka as well. This is our site and this is our Facebook. They are quite active. There's an offline session in every second Wednesday of each month, so you can participate. It is free. Guys from experts from different areas in SharePoint, they will come and host sessions. We will inform that in our Facebook group. As if you have registered in this site, you will be getting emails. Maybe I think this is a good place to learn because all the SharePoint geeks will meet up in this forum. Okay, that's all I have. If you have any questions,
Can you please explain that there are several certifications for SharePoint, and is it really good for an undergraduate to move into such a certification before having industry experience?
that's a good question. So before you think about certification, first you should have those, you should have SharePoint environments, right? There are good books, but you will not get a good understanding if you don't have any hands-on experience, right? Because this is a server tool. This is not something like ASP.NET application. This is server product. So you should have to manually go and upload documents, change permissions and those things. If you have that, then if you have the books, there are some certain, Microsoft guideline books as well. So there are certain exams. For example, in SharePoint 2010, we have administration exam, we have configuration exam, and we have the development exam. In 13 also, we have similar kind of exams. For each exam, you will be getting a book. There's a book written for that exam. If you read that book, you can do the exam. But you should definitely have a hands-on experience. If I move to your question, you can definitely do that. There are I have met several individuals. When I interview them, they have so much of qualifications on that aspect. They have done SP, they have done C#, the beginning one, the foundation exam they have done. Maybe they have mastered in SQL Server, they have mastered in SharePoint. So that will definitely be an advantage. So I have seen so many CVs like that. So definitely it will be an advantage. But you should definitely, if you are trying to do the exam, you should definitely download the server product. It can be a free version, or you can follow the virtual labs, and you should have a hands-on experience. Otherwise, you won't grasp the. Thank you, guys.